Well, good afternoon, and thank you for coming to today's webinar. This webinar is focused on what's new in PalmTech version 8. And so the way this is going to work is we'll talk about some of the new features, and then we're just going to dive right in and take a look at them. So when we talk about what's new in version 8, some of the new features are the ability to set up custom cover pages. You now have the ability to set up custom page headers, so you have a lot more control over what shows up at the top of each page of your report. You can customize components. This is something that inspectors have been asking for years. This means you can customize what happens when you hit add another. You can customize what comes in. You can create custom colors that you can use throughout the reports. You can now rotate pictures in the app. We also added completeness check in the app. There's lots of new features, lots of improvements, and some of the improvements include updated app interface, and we'll take a look at what that means here in a little bit later. A larger cloud drive. Faster uploads, so when you're uploading, whether it's inspections or your templates or libraries, moving them between devices is now faster than it was before, better quality pictures, and more. And so with that, that's kind of the list of some of what's new, but now we're going to dive right in and we're going to take a look at how it works, and we're going to start by focusing on some of what's new on the PC, and then some of what's new related to customization, and then we'll switch gears and we're going to take a look at what's new in the app. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the PalmTech program, and we're just going to start a new inspection. We'll select one of our templates, and at this point, this all looks and works the same as what you're used to. We'll give the file a name, so I'm going to call this test, and we're in an inspection. Anytime we do a major version upgrade with PalmTech, one of the things that we really focus on is we don't want to make it so that you have to learn a brand new system. And so we'll add in features, we'll add in functionality, and make things simpler without you being in a spot of having to learn a brand new program. And so we're navigating around and we're looking at things. A lot of it's going to look the same. And the advantage there is you can pick up right where you left off with version 7, start using this right away without having to learn a brand new program. With that said, the first thing we're going to take a look at is how to customize components. And we'll give a couple of examples. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the air conditioning category, and we're going to make a customization to our AC system. So let's say when you do inspections, you don't need the model number and serial number line. Let's say you don't want this in there. In the past, you've always been able to take this out, and so you can do that just by clicking on this icon on the left, and then we can hit delete line. When we do this, the line is gone. But what happens is, let's say this is a house with another AC system, or even the next time you go to do an inspection. If I click on add another AC system, that line for model number, serial number, that's back in there. With version 8, you now have the ability to take it out one time and then make it so it's not going to be there moving forward. So I'm going to delete out that extra one, and we're going to go back to this first one where we already deleted the line. If I want to make this permanent, all I have to do is click on the icon to the left of the AC system location, so to the left of the location line, and then I click Save the Library. Here, you can change the name if you want to. I don't recommend changing the name. I'll keep it AC system because that'll make it so that when we hit add another AC system, it looks at this name, and this name here needs to line up with this name. So just keep the name the same, and we'll click on OK, and now the change has been made. And so what happens, when I hit add another AC system, you'll see that line's gone. And so now anytime we do an inspection moving forward, or if I need to add another AC system on this inspection, it's customized the way we want. And so we're going to make another change. We'll do the same thing with bedroom. And so let's say when we do our inspections for the bedroom, we don't need the closet lines, and let's say we don't need the electrical lines. I can just real quickly delete these out. And let's say I wanted to make another change, and so I wanted to rename how Windows was. So I can just come in here, rename the line. We'll make a small change. So we'll say Windows. We'll click on OK. Come here to my location line. We're going to do Save the Library. We'll keep it named Bedroom. We'll click on OK. And now when I hit Add Another Bedroom, those changes are there. And the same thing would work if we wanted to add in lines or change the order. So if we wanted to make it so doors was always first, you can make whatever changes you want to any component. Just click on that location icon, save the library, and now you've customized your components. And if you customize your components on on one of your computers. Those changes are all contained in your library file, so you would simply need to move that library file over to your mobile device or any other computer that you use, and those changes will be there. So that's a look at how to customize components. Now let's take a look at how to set up custom colors. One of the cool things about version 8 is you have the ability to set up and use whatever colors you want. And that's all done in print settings. So I'm going to come up top here to our print settings icon, and you'll see that this looks different than what you're used to. We've added a couple of tabs. Before, I believe we had the 4 tabs, but now we have the margins, the page options. We have a separate tab for header, a separate tab for cover page, and then fonts and colors. And we'll talk about the header and cover page next, but let's go to colors for now. So on this colors tab, you'll see all the standard colors that come with the software, and there's 2 new ones that we call Accent Light and Accent Dark. And these are more or less placeholders that you can use and then customize these to whatever you want. You can also customize all the existing colors. And so let's make a change. And let's say one of the colors I really like to use is orange. This is a color, maybe it's in my logo, maybe it's part of my branding, but I want to have orange available. I can simply make the change. And so I'm actually going to change this Accent Dark to orange. So I come here, type in the new name. I can click on Edit, and then I can just use these 3 sliders to adjust it and get the color the way I want. Or if you happen to know the hex number, you could always type it in, but the sliders are the easiest way to do it. And so I'm just going to change these to get it to the way I want. That looks like a good orange to me. I'll click on OK. And now we've added an orange. And I'll do the same thing with Accent Light. Let's say I like to use yellow, so I'm just going to go ahead and change this to yellow. We'll come over here to Edit, and we'll make that change. That looks good to me. And one of the good things is, since this is in your print settings, all you have to do is change this one time, and then it's immediately available for use, and it'll be here for all your future inspections. So you can add in a brand new color, or you can also modify an existing one. So here I have green. Well, when I look at that green, that's not my favorite shade. Let's say I wanted to make a change just to this green. I wanted to use something I like a little bit better. I could come in here and just adjust the slider. So if I wanted to make it brighter, I could. I like it a little bit darker, and so I'm just going to slide it over here, and we'll click on OK. And so it's still green. It's just a darker version of the green. And so as you can see, it's really easy to customize the colors. And once you do it, I mean, this will be available on your decorations, so on any of your pictures. It'll be available in your fonts that you use throughout your report. Anywhere else colors are available. And so that's a look at how to customize your colors. Now let's take a look at how to set up a custom cover page. So you have a lot more control to set this up to look the way you want. And that's all done here in the cover page tab. So just like we've had in the past, you have the ability to include a cover page. So we're going to check this box. And you have those same 4 options we've always had. But we've added a 5th option. And if you click on this, you can then click on the Edit Custom Cover Page button, and this will take you to the Custom Cover Page Editor. And on this screen, there's a lot you can do. And so you can change how the picture shows up, where it shows up, and the size. You can add in your logo and put the logo exactly where you want it on the report. And you can add in any additional information you want. And so we're going to take a couple minutes, and we're just going to customize this to a different look, so that way you can see how it's done. And so the first thing I want to do is, let's say on my cover page, I don't want my company name and address and phone number to show up. If we don't want that, you can just come right here and then hit Delete Element. And we've taken that off. We have Home Inspection Report. This is the title. And of course, you could modify the title, modify the font and the color. But for the look we're going for right now, I don't need a title. And so I'm going to just make sure that's highlighted and then delete element. And so the standard setup we have, you can come in here and then kind of delete the parts you don't want and then rearrange anything you do and then add in new items. So we've taken out some of the stuff we didn't need, but let's change the cover. Let's change this photo. Let's say we don't like it showing up here. And so we can actually change. We want to move it to the top. And so I can control where this shows up right down here. So I'm going to change this to 0.5 inches from the top, and it immediately kind of gives you a preview of the way it's going to look. For the height, I like my photos a little larger on the cover page, so I'll make it 5 inches. And I want it centered, and so it's already centered. And so that part looks good. For the property address, we're going to change where this shows up. And so here's that. And we're going to move it up a little bit. So instead of being 9 inches down, let's just change this to 6. So that way it fits right underneath the photo. And you'll notice as we're working with information here, this just kind of populates it with some dummy information. So of course this won't be the photo that you want, but it's helpful to have a photo in place so that way you can see how everything's going to line up. And same thing with the address. When you actually look at the way the report looks, it's going to have your whatever photo you add for the cover page, as well as whatever the actual property address is. That'll be in place. So now let's add in our logo, and we can add in our logo just by clicking on Locate Logo. And this will just pull up your pictures, and you just find the one you want. We're just going to add in this sample logo here. And when it adds it in, we can see it just kind of stuck it up in the top left corner. It's being covered up. That's not where we want it, and so we'll adjust where our logo shows up right here. And first thing I'm going to do is I'll make it a little bit larger. So I'll make that 2 inches. And then we're going to move it down because right now it's covered up. So we'll just say 7.5 inches from the top. And then we want it more centered. So we'll do 2.7 inches. And with some of this, you can just kind of type it in like I've been doing, or you can just press these kind of up and down arrows to kind of maneuver around and get it how you want. But this looks like a good spot. So we have our cover page photo, the property information, and then we have our company logo. And then from here, we could leave it like that, but let me show you how to add something new in. So let's say we wanted to add in, my name, right? So who it was inspected by, along with the inspection dates. And so to add in new text, I can just do Add Text Element. And again, it just kind of sticks it up in the corner. So here we'll just type what we want. And so I'm going to say inspected by, and if I wanted, I could put my name here, Adam Singer, or you could use a merge field. And so some of these are pre-set up, and we do have one for inspector name. And so if we use a merge field, we just put what it is in curly brackets, and then whatever the actual inspector name is, it'll pull that and then put it in place. And we're going to do the same thing with inspection date. So we're just going to put the date underneath it as well. And we're going to use a merge field. And if you just use inspection date merge field, you can type that in. And you can see a lot of the preset merge fields just right here. So you can either type them in like I did, or you can simply select it. So we have what we want, but it's definitely not where we want it. And so we're going to, first off, let's center this. And now we want to move this towards the bottom. And so that's good. It looks a little small, so let's go to Choose Fonts. And with the font, we can choose the exact font and the size and the color that we want. And so I like Arial, so we'll change that to Arial. We'll make it a little bit larger, and we'll leave it at the color black. And so now we've made our change, and our custom cover page is set up. Now if I click on Close, I'm going to click on OK, and now I'm going to open up our sample report because I want to show what the cover page looks like now. So we made a change, we set it up in print settings, and so now that cover page is in place and ready to be used for all our inspections. So if we go to Print Preview, we'll see this is our sample report, so this information is already filled out with our cover page photo. But here's our cover page. We have the picture at the top, the address right in the middle. There's the logo where we wanted, inspected by, here's the inspector name, along with the date of the inspection. And so just like that, in a couple minutes, we are able to set up a custom cover page, and there's a lot you can do with it. And so once you get started with the new version, you can go in there and tweak it and really get it the way you want. So that's a look at how to set up a custom cover page. Now let's take a look at how to set up a custom page header. And this is very similar to what we just did with the cover page. So we're going to go back into print settings. We'll go to page header. And we have our same standard options, so you don't have to go into that level of detail when you're setting it up. You can always use the standard setup like you've had in the past. All the options are there. But if you want to set one up, you can just check the custom box and then do Edit Customized Layout. And here we have, like I said, the screen works very similar to what we just saw. Right off the bat, I definitely can see some changes I want to make because I don't like the colors that are used. We have the orange and yellow, and that's because we made changes to the accent dark and accent light. So we changed those, and so I'm actually going to switch these back. We want to change these back to black. Well, let's make a couple changes. And so first of all, My company name, I'm going to move this over to the right side. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to change it to black. And so I'll find the inspection company name here from the list, and I'm going to do the choose font. And so first, let's change this to black. Make the size a little smaller, and you can make it bolder, not bolder. We'll keep it bold. Actually, I'll make it a little bit smaller. We'll click on OK. And now we can move it over to the right side just by, right here we kind of see if it's going to be centered, left or right. I'm just going to do right. And so now it's in the top right corner. Next, we have right here it says prepared for, and you can barely see it because it's yellow. Let's change this to black. So I'll change that to black. We'll click on OK. So now we have our company name moved over. We have the prepared for, so our client name and the address. We have that. That looks good. But now let's add in a new element, because I wanted to say who it was inspected by. So I'm going to do add element in here. I'm going to type in inspected by. And we're going to use that same merge field we saw earlier. So I'm just going to do inspector name. We can see it's placing it right on top of where we already had something. So we want to change where it's going to go. So let's move it over to the left side. And again, it's being covered up by something else. And so we're going to change where it's at. So we'll move it up a little bit. So now that's in the top left corner. And now that it's up there, I want to add a little bit more information to it. I actually want to include my company phone number. So we'll type that in, as well as my company website. So we'll say inspectionco.com. And so we have that where we want. But again, as we saw, it's covered up by the date and time and then the page numbers. And so let's change this. First of all, let's say I don't want the date and time to show up. I can just get rid of that. The page numbers, I want to put that centered. So we'll click on center. And what I want to do is I want to move this down a little bit because I want my logo to show up right here in the middle. And so we're going to move this down. So for the vertical, we'll do 1.5 inches. So that gives us a nice spot for the logo. And I could keep the color orange if I want, but just for consistency with this one, I'm gonna go with black. And so now that's changed. And the last thing we want to do is let's go ahead and add in our logo. And so we added our logo in before, but that was only to the cover page. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on Locate Logo. And just like we did, it'll pull up the pictures on our computer. I'm just going to find my logo. We'll click on OK. And it has stuck it over here, but now we can change where it shows up by modifying it here. So first off, I'm going to make it a little bit larger, and we're going to move it more towards the center. So we'll just do that by adjusting the left, and we definitely want to move this up some because I don't want it covering up my cover page or the page number. And so with that, We've made some changes. We got the information we want. We have the logo we want. Once you're done making changes to the header and it's set up the way you want, you simply just tap on Close. We'll tap on OK. And now, let's go back to Print Preview. Here we see our cover page. But now, if you look at the page header, it's customized and set up the way we want. We have our inspected by with our company information. That logo shows up right there in the middle. You have your company name here as well as the client and property information. And you'll notice that that orange we changed, that's in use here as well. And if you didn't want the orange, or you can choose whatever color you want for your category headers, just like you've always been able to. And so with that, that's a look at a lot of the major customization new features on the computer. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to shift gears, and we're going to take a look at some of the changes on the app. So we're just going to close out of that. We'll close out of this, and we're going to pull up the PalmTech app. And for this, there's quite a few changes here. One of the first one is you can actually customize the colors that you use in the app. And so here we have like the green bar and the green buttons. We set it a cool new feature that you can change that to maybe whatever sports team you like, or if you want to brand it more towards your maybe your company colors, you can do that. And when you make the changes to the app colors, it doesn't actually change the way the report looks. because that's all done in print settings, which we just looked at. But if you're using PalmTech, you're doing inspection, you spend a lot of time in the app, and it's always nice to have colors you prefer. And so that's all done in settings. We have these two new options here. We have set button color and set icon color. And to change it, you simply click on it. And again, we have those same sliders we saw before, and then you just modify it the way you want. And as you change it, you'll see this button here. This will show you what your new color is going to be. And I'm just going to stick with orange. We'll say we want to go with orange. And so that looks good to me. And as you can see, the change was made. We're in Cincinnati, so if we were big Bengals fans, we could keep it orange and black. But we can go ahead and go to set icon color. And let's change this to a blue. And so we'll get red, move that over a little bit there. For the green, get something in the middle. And then for blue, and you can just get whatever blue or whatever color you want. And we'll click on done. And as you can see, it adjusted some of the icon colors. And now, all throughout the program, this is going to be the color scheme that you're looking at all day. So that's one of the first changes that we made. Another change is we just updated kind of the icons throughout the program. So instead of having a lot of buttons with a lot of text, it's using more modern, more updated buttons. And to look at that, we'll go to Open, and we're just going to open up 123 Summer Street. And once we do that, it'll pull it up, and we're going to see all of our categories. So just like you're always used to seeing, the screen looks the same. There's just some differences in that the icons look different. Again, it's just a modern, slicker feel. We can see the color scheme that we chose really has an impact on what we're looking at. And if we look at the icons, we have email, upload, your summary review. We've added in a new feature for completeness check. And so if we click on this, what this will do is this is going to list anything that hasn't been filled out. And so if you're doing your inspections on the mobile device, it's good to just have this extra check to make sure you didn't skip something. The nice thing is if you did, because I'm looking at this now, and I know on this property, we didn't have a deck, and there wasn't a compactor in the kitchen. You can actually just click on it. It'll take you right to that section, and I'm just going to mark it not applicable. Fill that out, and then as soon as it's been taken care of, it's removed from the list. And so if I see something show up here, I don't have to worry about tapping on back and then going through all the categories to find it. I can just click on it here, fill it out as needed, and then once everything's done, it's empty, and it's just another way to make sure, hey, we didn't miss anything. So going through the rest of the icons, same things we saw before, the picture review, your final comments, private notes, save as, so if we wanted to give the file a different name, or your settings. And then when we click on a category, again, we're filling out information the same way. You have the same columns you've always had, and you have the same options, just different looking icons. So you have your disclaimers and not applicable, and then a spot for your tech notes. Now, one other change we made was if you want to edit it, before you had that edit option here, and you kind of drag it. It just wasn't as intuitive as we would have liked. And so here you can just tap and hold your finger on a line or a category, and then you have the same edit options. So you can rename, you can delete, you can copy, and then you can paste. And so you can make the same changes as you could before. It just works easier and a lot smoother. If we tap on a line, so we'll go to Porch. Again, same screen as we have always seen. You have the option to add in pictures, take a picture, add in a picture from your camera roll, your gallery, your cost estimates if that's something you do. You can clear the line or you can delete the line. Once you've added in a picture, another option we've added is the ability to rotate. So we'll just click on this picture here, and down at the bottom you'll see how to rotate. And this was a big deal. This is something that we've heard inspectors ask for quite a while on the app, and we wanted to add it in. And so if you add in a picture and it's just not in the orientation you wanted, now it's real easy to do. You just simply rotate that picture, and just like before, you can add in all your markups, and you can change your color. And as you can see, those changes we made to the colors on the PC, they're already updated on the app. And so we have our orange. I can draw we'll draw an orange circle. Or, if we want to do a yellow arrow, we can do that as well. And so, we made the changes on the computer to the settings. Those colors are now available. We can start using those throughout our report. And so with that, that's a look at some of the major changes on the app. and a lot of what's new with version 8. And so we're gonna flip back to the PowerPoint, and we're gonna wrap things up for the webinar, because we wanted to keep it to about a half hour. One of the things I mentioned before is the idea of when you upgrade versions, you don't want it to be a lot of work. You don't want to feel like you're learning something new, and so you're not. So you're not learning a new program. It's still very much PalmTech. As you saw, you could pick it up, start using it right away, and then just take advantage of what's new. It's easy to install. Your information imports directly from version 7 into version 8. And that means you can upgrade and begin using it the same day. You don't have to worry about upgrading and taking a couple weeks to get ready. You can just hit the ground running using version 8. As far as upgrading, the cost to upgrade from version 7 to version 8 is $299, and you can upgrade online. There's a spot you can just upgrade right off our website, or you can upgrade over the phone by giving us a call. So at this point, I'd just like to know, how can we help you move forward? I'm going to open up a poll. We'll open it up there. And just tell us, if you're ready to upgrade, we can give you a call and get that taken care of. If this kind of sparked any kind of tech support questions, or you want a little bit more information about it, use mark contact for tech support. We'll give you a call. Or if you're good, you thought today was helpful but really don't need anything at this point, just mark nothing at this time, and we'll leave this open for about another 30 seconds to make sure everyone has a chance to respond. All right, perfect. So we're going to go ahead and close that. And so with that, I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time out of your day to attend the webinar. We'll follow up with those of you who requested it. If you have any questions at all, like I said, about the new version or just about what you're using now, let us know. Otherwise, I'll let you get back to your day. And like I said, thanks for attending.